Check 1, 2. Hey. All right. That's probably working. That says it was working now. So I got no audio. Can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? There I am. Okay. You see, that's what happens, man. They had no I'm out here. I'm talking about these Grand Blanc shootings right here, and thank you, J Mommy, for bringing that up, because that's actually what I was talking about, and that's the way a devil works, and he tries to shut you up when you're saying some things, but right there. But that I was talking to my wife about those shootings, and apparently the church that I go to and that I play music at NTC Church in Burton, Michigan, was also on a list, on a target. And she asked me if I was afraid to go up there and play music anymore. And, you know, maybe a little bit, but the thing is, like, freedom of religion, that's one of the things. That's one of the founding things from way back in the day, is at the beginning of the country, freedom of religion, the freedom to worship however you want to worship. And it affects me, and I'm not going to be scared to go up there and worship the Lord. I'm going to continue to go up and play the guitar for my church. And I mean, we have a great security where we're at, but it's crazy that we've gotten to this point. But they're going to stand firm. We're going to stand firm and rest on the promises. And I just wanted to say something about that. And if you got your thoughts and your prayers are much needed in this time. This is very close to home for me. And I'm not going to get into the politics side of it, guys. Just so you know, I'm not going to get in here and try to turn this into a left-right thing. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me on this show, because I don't want to get into that. But I do want to get into the fact that I want to be able to practice my religion and be able to worship the Lord in that spot. And I would love to be able to do it without the fear of somebody driving through the front door and shooting me while I'm up on the stage doing that. But I don't know how you guys feel about that. Please try to stay away from the politics in the comments. That's all I ask of that. But we have the freedom to say what we want, the freedom of speech. That means I can come onto this program and we can talk about the Detroit Lions. And that's what the show is designed for. And, I don't want to lose everybody with this other topic on that. I mean, I don't know what to say other than what I've said. Is I'm going to stand firm, and I'm going to continue to do what I do on Sundays. So God bless you guys. I hope that message receives you well. But I don't even know how to transition into the stuff of the show, so I'm just doing a hard change right in there. It is Overreaction. It's Victory Monday. Victory Monday. Lions get a huge victory. A beatdown victory over the Cleveland Browns. If it's Brown, flush them down. They covered that spread, that 10-point spread. What are your thoughts on the game? What are your thoughts on what the Detroit Lions did yesterday? We did leave the game with some concerns. Part of the concern being got a couple of our cornerbacks that are going to be out. And one advantage of, waiting until the afternoon to do this show is Dan Campbell did speak at 2 o'clock today and talked a little bit about some of the injuries and what we can expect there. And if you didn't hear, DJ Reed and Terrion Arnold both got injured in this game. And the DJ Reed one definitely looked a little bit more serious on the injury front. So from what Dan Campbell said today is that, they're trying to decide whether they want to put DJ Reed on IR, but they're going to have him back before the end of the season. So if they're still trying to decide whether they want to put him on IR, that's a 4-game thing, right? You can put somebody on a 4-game IR and get them back. So if they're considering it, to me, that tells me that it's right around the 3 to 4 weeks in. We are not going to have DJ Reed this coming up week. Now, Terrion Arnold is more up in the air. That one seems more week to week. So I think that we're going to get Terrion Arnold back sooner than we would get DJ Reed back. That's the first thing. But the Lions dominated this game from beginning to end. I mean, the Browns defense is as advertised. I mean, we all knew going into this that the defense was the thing to look at here. The Browns have an excellent defense. We're not going to deny that. But one of the other things I talked about in yesterday's program was the fact that if the Lions do blow them out, turnovers are going to be involved, and that's exactly what we saw. We saw the defense have kind of a breakout performance against the lowly Browns offense. Joe Flacco going 16 of 34 for $184, 2 interceptions. Judkins had 21 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's a promising rookie they have right there. But not really much offense outside of that. Goff was very efficient. 16 to 27. $168. Maybe you might not call that efficient. That's probably not efficient by Goff standards. But 2 TDs, 1 interception. Jahmyr Gibbs ran the ball hard, 15 carries for 91 yards and a TD. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7 catches, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. On defense, I mean, come on, let's go. You got an interception by DJ Reed, interception by Kirby Joseph. You got a couple sacks from Aidan Hutchinson. You got a sack out of Alex Anzalone, and they were pressuring Joe Flacco all day long. 249 total yards for the Cleveland Browns. 170 pass yards, 79 rush yards, 3.5 yards a carry, or a carry, 3.5 yards a play. On third down, they were only 3 of 14. They were getting off the field. They punted the ball 7 times. The Lions only punted the ball 5 times. The Lions didn't have to do much on offense. They only had 277 yards themselves. 168 passing yards, 109 rushing yards. You know, I guess when you look at it, it was Johnny Morton that got to say that thing. Johnny Morton got to say, yeah, you ain't seen a rushing attack like my rushing attack. So the Trim Reaper said, I called 31-13. That was pretty damn close. Yeah. You know, I was wondering if they were going to be able to cover that 10-point spread. And, you know, that opinion was totally predicated off of whether the defense could get turnovers. And that was. You got some short fields, you know. You got a fumble recovery. You got an interception returned all the way down. I mean, where you're starting in the red zone. I mean, that's what you want. That is what you want. So, what's up, John? What up?
You like that?
All right. So let's say hello to everybody in the comments right here, since I had to get my mind past that first thing and not being able to hear me and all that stuff. But you let me know if it breaks out again. But what's up, John?
You like that?
And Burrow is injured. Yes, J Mommy. He is on the injury list.
You just made the list.
And the villain squad was in true form. When you gel together, this is one of the great rewards. Stand strong, one pride, go Lions.
You like that?
I'm the UDFA of sports podcasting. Honestly, you know, I know that there's a lot of other programs that are out here, but I'm just grassroots. Just a Lion fan that started this page with some friends of mine like Main Event Mike. Got some help from Bill the Packer fan and Mike the Bear fan. Just fans of our team, started pages, and just bringing you to Detroit Lions stuff. But I'm not doing it on an ESPN level, you know. But did get some pretty cool guests on here last week. You know, thank you to John Macaroon from Sports Illustrated. Always welcome on here to give your opinions. And then we had Jeff Iufredi from Crunch Time Sports. You want to check out that video? That's on the YouTube page as well. But thank you, everybody, for being part of this program. You know, being here to talk some Lions. You know, I put my priorities in this way. I love to be able to attract my Christian brothers and sisters that love the Detroit Lions, because it's faith, family, and then football here. You use football. I mean, if you use football, it can be such a beautiful family tool. Just to spend some time with your family, hanging out. And that way you put your perspectives in there when you lose the game. And us Lions fans, we know we have lots of experience at losing.
You've had enough of that shit.
Yeah, we've had enough of it. And we want to move on to a different era. Right there. But thank you, John, for being part of the show. I came on here on actually, J Mommy was saying she can't get on here in the morning sometimes. So when I ran into the problems that I did this morning, I was like, screw it. I'll do the show in the afternoon. And every once in a while, I might do this. I may switch to an afternoon show every once in a while, just so J Mommy can come on here and be on here live with us. But Trim Reaper says that Laporte is he's gonna torch them Bengals. Yeah, this is a winnable game. You go down there against the backup quarterback because Joe Burrow is out. And, you got to deal with Trey Hendrickson. A lot of us Lion fans, we're like, why won't Brad Holmes go out there and get himself a pass rusher? Hey, Brad Holmes should have listened to me. If you would have listened to me, you could have traded for Trey Hendrickson, and then you wouldn't have to play against Trey Hendrickson. I'm not negative. I'm realistic. Put a sock in it. STFU. Don't be that guy. But do be that guy that likes and comments. Like, get involved. If you don't know what to comment, let Stone Cold Steve Austin, if you're a Detroit Lions fan, give me a hell yeah. And you can type that hell yeah into the comments if you don't know what to type. But be part of our network. 82,000 on Facebook. Go over to that YouTube page. Help us out on YouTube. At 313 Villain Squad. If you're a fan of Detroit sports, where the Detroit Tigers made it into the playoffs. Playoffs. And how are you feeling about that? The Detroit Tigers make it into the playoffs. And you got Scooble. It feels like Scooble should give you a win. But if you're a Detroit Tiger fan, you've been following them game by game, man. This was not a great end to the season. I mean, they kept on getting pushed back and back and back, and they're pushing back, and they're sucking, and they're losing like 10 games in a row. They fell over and landed into the playoffs. So I'll give the broski realistic take on the Tigers. They're not giving me a lot of hope going into this series, of any playoff series. I mean, that would be awesome if all of a sudden they get hot and this is when they decide to turn the burners on right now as October starts. That would be awesome. But you haven't been giving me those vibes, Tigers. You ain't been giving me those vibes. You're giving me the vibes of somebody that's tripping and falling and head over heels, all the way down the hill, rolling across the finish line, tripping right before you get to the finish line. But it is the playoffs. Anything can happen. And Tigers and baseball in general is just one of those things where it really is a hot hand type of thing. You can get hot in baseball out of nowhere. I have no idea how they got rabbit's foots and all kinds of luck stuff that they try to do to try to get themselves back into a winning mode, but who knows what that secret sauce is. But the Tigers are in the playoffs. I felt like it was worth to note that the Tigers are in the playoffs, and there you go.
Playoffs?
But I'm going to be realistic about the Tigers right there. I'm not feeling that. But I am feeling the Detroit Lions. The team looks like they're starting to gel, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And the word around the campfire is that Aleem McNeil, they're thinking about starting his clock, which would, if you don't know what that means, when you're bringing a guy back from injured reserve, you put him on a 21-day clock where you can activate him. at any time during that 21 days. And if it gets back to the 21 days and you haven't, I think they have to go back on injured reserve. But if they're going to activate and put him on that 21-day window, that means that he's within 21 days of playing. So the rumor was that he was early, like he was on track to finish that rehab early, and that he's been ready for a little bit. And that's good news. You get Aleem McNeil back in any capacity. You know, and the way that they do those ACL injuries, man, it isn't like it was, man. I remember like back in the like LaDainian Tomlinson days. I don't know what I mean, you're talking like the 06 through like 12. Like I just remember ACL injuries being like 2-year deals. Like you were lucky to be able to come back from them, but the technology and however they go about, you know, rehabbing and doing the surgeries has advanced so much that this is turning into a 6 to 9 month injury. It's crazy how far medical has come as it pertains to injuries, because that surprised me. I didn't think we were going to get Aleem McNeil back until Thanksgiving, and that was I was supposed to feel good about that, you know. But yeah, J Mommy hit it right there. Yeah, they came out with an article, and I don't know who dropped the article, but I remember them saying that 93, 94. I have no idea how they come up with that though. Those numbers. 93%. Where do I go get the other 5%, J Mommy? But the cool thing is even they do bring him back, right? You don't have to have Aleem McNeil come in and take 40 snaps. Tyleik Williams has done just fine. They can bring him in, you know, on a snap count. They don't have to push him through. See how it goes. So, yeah, that's great news, but that's coupled with bad news on the secondary front. But the good thing is we do have pretty good depth at the secondary position. We got guys that can be put in there that have experience. You know, it's not the most ideal, but you know, Terrion Arnold wasn't playing the greatest, and it might, I mean, even though he's injured, it might serve him well to sit on the sidelines and watch a guy like Rock Ya-Sin, who has experience in the league, and just doing what he's supposed to do. Because what we're finding out is that when you got cornerbacks that can cover for a longer period of time, those sacks are starting to get home, guys. They sacked Caleb Williams a bunch of times. They sacked Lamar Jackson a bunch of times. They sacked Joe Flacco and just made their life a living hell the last 3 weeks. And that has more to do with good coverage in the secondary than you might think. J Mommy's got a great point here. I always love having your I miss having your takes in here. I might have to move the show back to the afternoon. But the Lions built a team with several captains and character. They have several leaders on the field. That's a great point.
You like that?
You know, and really all 3 levels, too, when you think about it, all 3 levels of the defense have a bona fide leader. You know, you think of DJ Reader right there in the middle. Aidan Hutchinson, you know, for the pass rushers. Great leader. And even Aleem McNeil when he comes back, he adds to that room. Jack Campbell, natural born leader. You know, Brian Branch, natural born leader. Alex Angelo, natural born leader. They're all over the place. That's one of the reasons that one of the common denominators of Brad Holmes guys are being the captain of the team that they were on in college. I mean, go back and check it out. You can fact check me on that. I think that it's well above 50% of the Lions draft picks were captains. I mean, no matter what round, you get the captains, you get the leaders. Who are their teammates looking for when the times get tough? They're looking to the captains. They're looking for the leaders. And the Lions are chocked full of them. Full of them. All over the place. Even the depth guys. So I love that comment. Thank you, Jay Mommy. Faith, family, and then football. That's right, Central Scrutinizer.
You like that?
I will be not terrorized from my church. I will worship the Lord at my church. And if somebody feels like they got to drive in there and try to shoot me because I'm worshiping the Lord, then so be it. I mean, when you think about it, from what I would believe as a Christian, that if I got killed while I was worshiping the Lord, that would be a good thing. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do it without having the fear. God tells us that we're not supposed to fear the sudden disasters. So thank you for that, Central Scrutinizer. Jay Mommy, Campbell has really stepped up on the running defense. Campbell is becoming, I mean, right now he's playing at an all-pro level. Because I did peek. Now, we do have PFF Tuesday is going to be my morning show tomorrow. But I did take a sneak peek at some of these PFF scores, and Jack Campbell is having himself a year. He's playing at an all-pro level and becoming one of the leaders on this team. I see him in there. Is just as impactful as Aidan Hutchinson is. Reno's in the house.
You like that?
Reno says, I jokingly said I didn't want Dallas or Green Bay to win, and they tied. I had a tooth pulled today, and it's still better than a Packer or a Cowboy win.
You like that? You like that?
That was beautiful last night. That was beautiful. I mean, honestly, did we go too fast on the love that we're giving the Green Bay Packers for how good they are? Because it's looking more and more like Green Bay came out, guns a-blazing and, and wore themselves out after the first round, and they're looking pretty vulnerable right now. And the Cowboys, I mean, are the Cowboys really that good on offense? Or did Dak Prescott make the Green Bay Packers defense look like Swiss cheese? Swiss cheese throwing holes all over the place. Did Dak Prescott do the NFL favor and expose the Green Bay Packers defense? What's the excuse? You had Micah Parsons. You had everything. You had everything in that game at your disposal. What's the excuse that you didn't put a whooping on the lowly Dallas Cowboys, who own your draft picks. I don't know, man. Are you scared of Green Bay anymore? I think it's Packer fool's gold. I think the Packers are setting themselves up for a Ford-Field beatdown from this Lions team. I'll tell you what, that Packer team that played last night, ain't no way they're going to beat this Lions team. Not the one that's coming up right now. They better get it together. I can't wait for that rematch at this point. To me, it looks like, the offensive line, having a slow start in the first week. This Tate Ratledge is looking like a better pick more and more that you look at it. Now, he didn't grade out great. We didn't have a lot of great grades last night playing the best defensive unit in the league. The Browns are good defense. The Browns are good defense. So I give the Browns a lot of credit, but they still ain't seen a rushing attack like our rushing attack, and we proved it by putting over 100 yards on them, and it's probably one of maybe 2 times that's going to happen to the Browns all season. Hell, we might be the only team that puts 100 on the Browns this year. Barring an injury of Myles Garrett, that is a formidable Jim Schwartz-led Cleveland Browns defense. No doubt about it. That boy from Michigan, if you're a Michigan fan, you like all those guys, Mason Graham, that's a dude. That is a dude right there. Malik Collins. It ain't just Myles Garrett. They got some dudes over there. They got guys that can play corner, safety. That is a good defense. Very aggressive. So, but the Lions turned them dogs into puppies. They're little teeny cute little puppies by the end. They gave up. We made them give up. We made the Browns tap out. Is that's like the best part of it, isn't it? Isn't that like the best part of it? We made them tap out.
You just made the list!
That feels fantastic. I mean, you think about it. You put them into the crippler crossface, which is like my favorite finisher move of all time. Heard I'm not supposed to talk about Chris Benoit anymore, but I always loved that finishing move. And that's what we did to the Browns. We put them into the old Benoit crippler crossface, and we made them tap out. By the end of the game, they're running the clock out for us. We're sorry, Mr. Lions. We're so sorry. Do you mind if we just run the ball a little bit with our backups? Please don't give us any more punishment. They tapped out. Now, the defense, honestly, the defense didn't. I don't know about the Browns defense didn't tap out. I shouldn't say that. Myles Garrett might come find me. They didn't tap out, but that offense definitely tapped out. But that defense was playing with pride the whole way. But, coaching wise, they did tap out. And they understood, when you got two physical teams that play like that, They weren't going to come back. They knew it. But that's what that makes the victory Kool-Aid taste a little bit sweeter. You know what I'm saying? When you put them in the crippler crossface. Central Scrutinizer says that McNeil will be back for turkey and cheese. He'll be back before turkey and cheese. If they open up his window this week, Central Scrutinizer, he'll be back. He'll be back before Halloween. Right now, it's looking like Aleem McNeil's going to be back before Halloween, folks. Now, just because they activate him this week, it doesn't mean that he's going to play this week. I do want to put that caveat on there. I don't want to put misinformation out there or have you misunderstand. If they activate and start the clock for Aleem McNeil's 21-day window, obviously that means that they got 21 days. That could be up to 3 weeks. But if they do activate it, that means that he's going to be playing within 3 weeks. He'll be on the roster. Now, Central Scrutinizer, I understand you're probably going to tell me that you don't want to rush him back, and I wouldn't want them to rush him back either, and they don't have to. That's the good thing. Tyleik Williams is playing well. Pat O'Connor's playing well. DJ Reader's playing well. Now, if you notice, with the style of defense, now, this one, I'm going to give some grace to all of the people that wanted to go out and make the big trade for the Micah Parsons or the Trey Hendrickson or whoever they thought was available, even Myles Garrett. The way that the Lions defense is being set up, it's just a beautiful setup. When you got guys like Pat O'Connor, DJ Reader, their stuff that they do does not show up in the stats. Sometimes it shows up as pressures, but what DJ Reader does, maintaining the line of scrimmage, holding up 2 guys, taking 2 guys, and opening up that for opportunities for like Aidan Hutchinson to make plays. I bet you if you talk to Aidan Hutchinson and ask him direct what's going on, he would tell you that the defensive linemen are doing their job, maintaining their gap, and they're allowing him to do what he does, and the linebackers too. We got defensive tackles that don't mind doing the dirty work. O'Connor doesn't mind doing the dirty work. Good morning, Paul Jones, or afternoon. Good afternoon, Paul Jones. What is going on, my friend? So, but it's great news about Aleem McNeil. I mean, looking like he's coming back faster than we thought. They may activate his 21-day window. So that is great news, especially going forward, especially with the secondary injuries. It wouldn't hurt to, get that quarterback uncomfortable faster when you have less talented guys. So they all balance out. Lions win. Lions seek and destroy. They beat the Browns. If it's Brown, flush it down. They beat the Browns 34-10, and it was never close. I mean, even the touchdown that they scored at the beginning of the game, you take them all the way to 4 downs. You made it hard. You made everything hard. And that's the way that you want it. And the Browns or the Lions weren't, the Lions were 0 for 1 on 4th down. They gave the ball back to them on that. You see, that 4th down stuff doesn't work every single time. Another thing that I wanted to bring up that just kind of goes into, it's Overreaction Monday, so let's overreact with some of this stuff. But I think the Lions still have the best offensive line in the NFL. And it took a few weeks to get them together, but for the 3rd week in a row, the Lions allowed 0 sacks. Zero sacks for the 3rd week in a row. Now, that's a pretty impressive stat. You have to go all the way back to the 80s when you're looking at the last time that a Lions offensive line allowed 0 sacks for 3 straight games. The 80s. So this offensive line is playing at a high level. And the crazy thing is this isn't just playing 3 cupcake teams in a row. Maybe you expected it against Chicago, but I didn't expect it against the Ravens and then the Browns. I expected to give up a sack to at least 1 sack. Didn't you? You go into be honest. Going into this game, Y for yes, N for no, you had to believe that Myles Garrett was going to get home at least once, right? I have a high belief in this offensive line, but they went over even my expectations. I did not think they'd go 0 sacks against the Browns. Jared Goff.
It's my quarterback.
Paul Jones, there you go. I'll put that up anytime anybody wants to say that. Packers are the fool's gold Packers. They're looking. I think Dak Prescott exposed that defense. And Green Bay is going to have to make an adjustment. And that's not even a troll. If a Green Bay Packer fan watches this and calls me out for trolling, I'm not even trolling there. That's just the NFL, buddy. You watch teams do this every single year. The Lions are going to go through it too. You get into these things, like if you're doing something and it's working, most teams will stick with that. But the NFL is so competitive, eventually, like everything that you do, they're going to eventually figure out, even the worst teams. So once they figure you out, that's where you prove how good your coaching is. Once they figure you out, what is your adjustment to their adjustment? Once they figure out your shit, is it just they stop you, or are you good enough to make an adjustment to their adjustment and find a different way to win? That's what Dan Campbell's talking about when he says that. Man, we got to find different ways to win. That's what he's talking about. Can you adjust to their adjustment? And I'm starting to feel, maybe I'm crazy with this, but I'm starting to feel how, when you're in that complementary football phase, right? Where all of your units are feeding off of each other. And I'm really feeling that the Lions can just beat you in 100 different ways. Sometimes it's, like a defensive game. Sometimes you got to win ugly. You know, there's some of these defenses that are out there that you just got to learn how to win ugly. But sometimes, like in the Packers case last night, you just get caught into a shootout. And then you get in that type of game. But you got to be able to play into the game flow. But your other units have to, you know, stop those trends. And neither one of those defenses could do that. And I don't think either one of those offenses are so good that they can just, you know, do that to any good defense. So if I looked at last night's game between Dallas and Green Bay, I would say that both teams, you know, have some issues. That if they don't figure them out, good NFL teams will expose that. I mean, I love where the Lions are at. Because I don't think the Lions are going to win out or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. They'll lose a game in here, but here's one thing is they won't lose 2 games in a row. I feel confident in that. We just got some dudes on our team. There's a reason we don't lose 2 in a row. Our team's the team that you don't want to see when we're angry. And nothing makes us more angry than losing. And I remember not so long ago when winning wasn't so common. I mean, that's where this guy was born. Brad Holmes should have listened to me. I'm not negative. I'm realistic. Why didn't you go out and get Trey Hendrickson? We could be Super Bowl contenders. You should have listened to me. I'm not negative. Be quiet. The thing is, you got to see how it plays out. And last year, Lions did a lot with a little. They didn't have the best injury luck, but they still found a way to win a lot of games. And even though we're kind of injured right now, we're not. It's like it won't be as bad as last year. It's like to other teams, you would look at what's happened to our team and go, oh my God, you guys are so injured. It's like, we've seen worse. Last year was so bad. Was so bad in injuries that it was ridiculous. We're relatively, healthy with some guys coming back and, some hope. I'm excited to get, Aleem McNeil and Josh Pascal back. I mean, I don't know when. It might be 3-4 more weeks for both of them. But, we got some players that are coming back there. It's pretty good. And I'm listening to everybody else whine and complain about injuries. It's like, whatever, shut up. Win anyway. You won't like me when I'm angry. Not the Lions. No teams like the Lions. Since 2022, Lions haven't won or lost 2 games in a row. And I don't count, playoff to the, you're talking within season or 2 games in a row in the same season. Since 2022. Pretty good stat, in my opinion. I like that.
You like that?
I too. That one I like. But Lions win, man. Overreaction. Now it's on to On to the Bengals. Going to Cincinnati. WKRP in Cincinnati. WKRP in Cincinnati. Go down there. That's going to be another win. I mean, they got a good pass rush, but that team's in trouble right now. You know, they should be able to defensively. They should have another good game against Jake Browning. I mean, I certainly hope Jake Browning don't go off on us. No, I think it's another good. I mean, you want to prove that your defense is legit? Kelvin Shepard, you put a game plan together and you don't let them score a touchdown. I need you to hold a backup quarterback to no touchdowns. A backup quarterback has no business scoring touchdowns. It's bad enough you let Joe Flacco do it. Once. I mean, you made that hard, but don't let it back up. There you go. There's the villain test. The villain challenge. The villain challenges you, Detroit Lions. We need the defense to stand valiantly against Jake Browning, a backup QB. Like, you want to prove that your defense is legit? You got to shut down a backup quarterback in Jake Browning. Come on.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
And then, you know, offensively, just have some fun. You know, I saw some 30 burger. Nah, I think that this could be a 40 burger game. This could be a 40 burger game. The Lions just got done playing some defenses, okay? The Lions just got done playing probably 3 top 10 defenses. When it's all said and done, just watch it. Maybe not the Ravens, because Patrick Mahomes lit them up too. But at least some defensive lines. So the Lions offense might really eat against this defense. I think we're going to score some points. And it's going to put, you know, Jake Browning in a comeback type of comeback type of mode where the run game's kind of off the table. And you got to drop back and you got to let Aidan Hutchinson come after you for a couple quarters. And that's not going to end well for you. I'm feeling like the defensive touchdown is close, don't you? That defense has just been on the verge. You know? I mean, I could make a highlight reel just off of the defensive touchdowns that got called back. So, there's a lot to be excited about when it comes to this Lions team. There's a lot to be excited about even with the Tigers. The 313 Sports. It's like it's a great time to be a Detroit sports fan. You know, think what you want about the Tigers. Think what you want about the Tigers. But once the playoffs start, you know, baseball's baseball. If you watch enough baseball, you know what I mean when I say that. Baseball's so streaky. You know, if the Tigers just go on think about it. If the Tigers just go on a 12-game winning streak right now, just like what happens in baseball, they'd be in the World Series. Let that sink in. To be winners. All it takes in baseball is to get hot. You just got to get hot. And but maybe it's the Guardians' time to get hot. But they've been hot for a while. So it might be don't quote me on this, but this sets up, it just feels different. I saw a team that felt pretty good together at the end when they made the playoffs. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if they just all of a sudden started to get hot. Because they got the players to do it, and they've been cold for so long. And that's what usually happens. It's like, boom, it's a switch. So either AJ Hinge is going to get left and criticized and ridiculed all offseason because this is going to be a quick exit, or they're going to talk about how AJ Hinge is a genius and he knew exactly when to flip the switch. And maybe he flipped the switch at the perfect time. Only time will tell, but playoff baseball starts tomorrow. How's that make you feel?
You like that?
I like that. Lions are getting ready to go to Cincinnati. We got a 3-1 first place Lions team. That feels pretty good.
You like that?
So on that good note, I'm going to leave you. And I want to thank everybody for being part of today's show. I want to thank the sponsor right here, Fanatics.com. Brought to you by Fanatics.com. If you're down with the 313 and you bleed Honolulu blue, then you need to gear up like the real one from our Fanatics, our official merch partner. Now they got everything there. They got everything there. So here's what you do. Hit that link in the description. Save up to 25% off of your order. Every click supports the channel, the page, and lets the world know the Detroit fans do it bigger and better. The Villain don't do knockoffs. The Villain does official. We do Fanatics. Get yours. Connect with me. Connect with me on Facebook, YouTube at 313 Villain Squad. If you're a fan of Detroit sports, hit that like button. If you're a fan of Detroit sports, leave a comment. Ask a question. Just give me a hell yeah. Share this to your networks. Let them know that the UDFA of sports podcasting, the grinder, is out there. And I appreciate your support. Connect with me on the YouTube page. I'm trying to get to 1,000. You could be my 1,000th subscriber. That's how close I am to it. So help me hit that goal. I don't know. You might be the 1,000th subscriber. I'm getting pretty damn close. It's under 10. I know that. So thank you for those that support there. It is faith, family, and then football in that order. We use football around here. It's not the other way around. We put our faith first and our family. And I'm not scared to go out there in front and people and express my faith or worship and be afraid that someone's going to drive into my church and try to kill me, because that's the way that I would want to go out, is worshiping the Lord with my guitar in my hand, if that's the way that it's got to be. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Russell Wayne. I am the Villain. Peace out. See you tomorrow.
You just made the list! Say hello to my little friend! Say hello to my little friend! Say hello to my little friend! You just made the list! You just made the list!